When you go to historic Loudon, you'll feel like you've taken a step back in time, complete with a corner ice cream shop.
Butter pecan and waffle cone, 1 scoop.
Despite the nostalgic feel, TikTok Ice Cream has only been here for 12 years. The current owners took over 7 years ago, and they were careful to preserve what was already started.
We have a lot of the old favorites from before. We've made up some of our own also.
One of the secrets to their success? All of the ice cream is made fresh on site.
And this is pure vanilla extract. It's from Madagascar, and it's some of the finest vanilla.
Using only top-grade ingredients, they can make creamy favorites like this chocolate chip ice cream in just minutes.
And since we're making homemade ice cream, you're not going to get a uniform amount of chocolate chips to bite ratio like you would find in the mass-produced ice cream, but I think it just adds more character.
And when asked if I would sample this fresh batch,
you do not have to ask me twice.
From here, the ice cream is packed in a blast chiller that flash freezes the ice cream, getting it ready to be scooped.
And how about you?
Mint chocolate chip.
Still not convinced this is worth the trip? Well, TikTok has been honored by Southern Living magazine, attracts people of all ages, and even has regulars willing to drive for this extra treat.
People come from Knoxville all the time because you just don't get old-fashioned ice cream sodas anymore.
And for many people, this isn't just an ice cream shop. It's actually a destination, and that's what the owners are hoping for.
You know the old Cheers show? That's just kind of how TikTok is. We know the people whenever they're coming in the door. A lot of people are regulars, so we know what they want before they make it through the door, and we can be fixing it before they get in here. So we have a lot of friends who return day after day, week after week.
Just one look, and you can really see this place helps make memories.
I've been coming here since I was really little, actually. I have my picture on the wall.
Nowadays, you can find 16-year-old Jackie Corbin here with her boyfriend. But a decade ago, it was a different man in her life who started this tradition.
On Saturdays, me and my dad would come out here because he's a truck driver and he wouldn't be in that much. And on Saturdays, he'd be in, so we'd just come out here and we'd have daddy days.
And in our short time at TikTok, we found new memories being made.
Did we win today? Yeah! Do we love TikTok ice cream? Yeah!
This youth soccer team was celebrating its first victory. I guess you could say they got a real taste of sweet success.
My favorite flavor is strawberry.
But no matter what you have a hankering for, if you like ice cream, TikTok has you covered. From sugar-free selections to a 5-scoop sundae appropriately named cardiac arrest, you're going to be served up one great experience.
It's homemade, delicious. It's a friendly atmosphere and just great visiting with neighbors. It's great.
It's no secret that moonshine has been flowing out of stills similar to this in Appalachia for decades.
It's about 155 to 160 proof.
The difference now, it's sold legally and produced for all to see.
This here is our mash cooker.
Eric Vance is one of the distillers here at Old Smoky Moonshine and Distillery. He and others make corn whiskey, White Lightning, and several flavored shines. Each week, they go through nearly 3,000 pounds of local corn. Another big part of their job, well, answering questions from tourists stopping by at Moonshine Holler right off the Parkway in Gatlinburg.
The most common, I'd say, would be, is this real moonshine?
And your response?
Well, I don't know how to make it any other way.
The recipe here is just corn, water, yeast, and thyme. This has been fermenting for about 6 hours. It will stay in this vat for about 3 to 4 days.
It's actually the yeast starting to eat the sugar and turn into alcohol, and it gives off a gas right here, and that's where you get your bubbles from.
Now, if you stop by, you'll likely see and talk to Vance and the other distillers, but Joe Baker, a local attorney, is actually one of the men who helped create what is now billed as the first legal moonshine business in our state.
The idea has been something that's just been brewing in our family for a very long time, for as long as 100, 150 years.
Baker's family has roots going back more than 200 years around the Smokies. He says making moonshine is definitely not an original idea.
And a lot of good people have fed their families through selling liquor.
This Tennessee native says he's well aware of the stereotypes surrounding moonshine, but after a booming first year in business, he hopes some people are changing their minds.
As far as chipping away at the negative connotation, I'm kind of proud of it. It's fun to be able to do this in a way that shines that positive light on what people have been doing here in the mountains for a long time.
Now, those of legal age can stop by for a free sampling.
And then we have the gray.
And we're not just talking about tasting liquor. There are also food products.
If you can put moonshine in it, we do.
That's right. There are moonshine pickles, barbecue sauce, and beans. All, of course, just like the moonshine, served up in mason jars. As for their distribution, well, you can buy Old Smoky corn whiskey in nearly 20 states.
I thought it would be popular, and I didn't realize how quickly it would spread across the country.
But for the best experience, you may want to come here in person. There's often live local music in Moonshine Holler, rocking chairs to relax in, and the owner's mountain heritage is even evident in the construction.
When we built this, everything that we did, we wanted it to be authentic. So every piece of wood that you find here in the distillery was from a barn or from a cabin, a structure that we found here in the area, in East Tennessee or even in eastern Kentucky.
And when you talk to the workers here, their stories are likely authentic too. Just listen to Vance's reaction to one of our questions.
Well,
Do you ever think you'd make a living doing this?
No, not like this, you know.
Not legally is what you're
Yeah,
trying.
well, you don't have to look over your shoulder, I guess you'd say.
Chances are that you and your family have heard the "'Twas the Night Before Christmas" story. Well, now there is another story and a Christmas tradition brewing all across the country that has kids not just scurrying down the stairs on Christmas morning, but almost every morning the weeks before Christmas looking for something special. It's called Elf on the Shelf, but as you can see, these elves can and they will hide just about anywhere.
All of a sudden, an elf appeared, and one for my brother as well. So we were very well watched over by Santa's finest scout elves.
Author Carol Abersald shared her story about when her elf first appeared in her Oak Ridge home decades ago.
Every night it flies back to the North Pole to tell Santa what's seeing and hearing, and then the next morning it arrives and it's hiding in a new spot, so the children have to find where it is.
Abersald's parents, who still live here in East Tennessee, continued that tradition for years. Carol went on to graduate from Oak Ridge High School, then UT in 1970, and her elf was not far behind.
Then when I got married, my elves came with me, and his elf went with him, and so our children grew up with the same tradition that we had.
So after her kids were grown, Abersald decided that she wanted to share this story with more people. So she contacted Santa himself and asked if she could write a book about the elf on the shelf. Starting in 2005, the elves started coming from the North Pole in packages like this, complete with Abersald's book. For the first year or two, the Elf on the Shelf could only be found in select venues, but now Santa is sending more elves than ever.
And it was totally word of mouth that brought people like Barnes & Noble and Hallmark and Target knocking on our doors.
Add into that the newly released Christmas special, and Abersald is one busy woman. In fact, between her new book tour on the West Coast, when we caught up with her, and a new granddaughter, she may not make it back to East Tennessee this Christmas. Nonetheless, she is thrilled to see so many people share in the tradition she knew growing up in Tennessee.
The elves are their friends, and it makes Christmas even more fun than Christmas usually is. And it gives Santa a hand, you know, because we've always thought Santa was having to do everything himself. And now it's known that he's had these little scout elves that help be his eyes and ears.
For this week's Made in Tennessee, Kristen Farley, 6 News.